Hey everybody, this is Ori from AstroWeb, and I'm going to introduce to you the product management and Shopify backend, so what the default actually is. So I've made a few videos already for Shopify overall. I've covered products, collections, things like that, but today I wanted to really go a little bit deeper into it and show you every single specific field, what it can do and exactly what it is. And this video is targeted in basic products, so simple products and the more configurable products. So what is a simple product, for example? It's a product that doesn't have variants, okay? So a product like this that I just set up a kind of a fake product. It's a product that's just selling stickers. The customer can go and just buy it, add to cart, proceed to checkout. There's no variants, there's nothing to choose from. The variant product is something like a shoe, for example, or a shirt, something that the customer has to choose their sizes, colors, or any other attribute. For example, color or weight, or for a computer, you might choose the CPU or memory or something like that. So I want to kind of discuss that in this video, go a little deeper, and of course, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. So let's give an example. So let's go to the simple product first of all. So number one is you go to the back end, you go to products, all products, and you can see all of your products. Before we edit them, what we can do is we can also search. You can search for a product name, for example, sticker. You can see your products. You can also use the filters, for example, filter by a certain type or vendor. So for example, type, I might have t-shirts, for example. Okay. Now I don't have stickers under t-shirts, so I'm going to remove this. Now, what you can do after you find your filters, if you have things that you're always searching for regularly, you can always save the search. Okay. And you can save the search, for example, and you can rename it. For example, my t-shirts. Okay. And then you can always access that very, very quickly. This is kind of a default search and save that's very popular. You can also delete that, right? So now you can access it anytime you come back, you can access it. So let's go ahead and edit a product. And adding and editing is basically the same, but I want to show you through a real example. So I'm going to click here on edit. What can you do inside a product? We're going to go one by one by one, okay? First of all, you see the product name, the title, which is exactly this and this is the same. You can duplicate it very quickly. For example, if I want to duplicate it, I can call it, let's just call it fake Adidas, and I can duplicate everything, the attributes, the information, descriptions, everything, and the images if I want, or I can uncheck it if I don't want. Okay, so let's click on here, duplicate, and you'll be able to see what's going on. Okay, now I have it's my own, and I'm going to continue to fill it out correctly, and then I'm going to save when I finish. So let's go back to the sticker. Okay, great. So what else can I do? I can go to the front and see how it looks like a customer. When a consumer comes, what do they see? Okay, when I make changes, I can click view and see the changes live. What else can I do? Any app you have, if you have more apps, marketing apps, SEO apps, additional tools, upsell, all these kind of things. Anytime you have apps that have additional functionality based on products, you'll be able to see a drop down here with all kinds of things. So for example, in one of the other videos we made, we actually added the buy button channel. So for example, because we added it, now I can embed it. I can actually make a buy button only with this product. So if I click here, it'll basically shortcut me to that app and help me do whatever I'm trying to do. Okay. Obviously, different apps have different functionalities, so I can't cover every single functionality. So let's jump into it. Product name, which is the title, right? Description. So for example, this is a test. And what you can do is you can use the WYSIWYG, right? That what you see is what you get type of editor, okay? What that means is just like you use Word or Office products, you can go click on something and then use any of these bold formatting, for example, make it very big. Let's say I want to go normal, and let's talk stickers, okay? And I can, bold, italicize. I can use indents, numbers. Let's go here, etc. Right? And you can outdent, you can indent, you can change alignments. For example, I want to go to the right. You see that right there? And I can change colors. So if I highlight, for example, a color, let's just choose this. Okay, let's go back in alignment. And I can also create links, which is very important. So for example, if I want these two words to be links, I'll click here find a link, for example, I'll link to, let's say, the women's page, the women's collection. I'll link here, put my SEO title tag, for example, describe in the SEO title tag the page, the women's collection. Okay, and I can decide if I want to open, when someone clicks, if they want to open it in the same window or a new window. Okay, so let's click insert. Now it's highlighted. In addition, I can create a table. Okay, let's go here. I'm going to create a table, just made one row, and I can go ahead and I can add more rows. Let's add a few more. Okay, and let's add a column. Let's divide it. So I can add a column, let's say right there. And I can make the column a little bit more to the middle. I'll split it to like a 50-50 thing. Okay, that's not exactly 50-50, but you know what I mean. Okay, and I can put my content. Hello, and then this is goodbye, right? Things like that. Okay, and then what else can you do? You can embed, put the mouse where you want. You can put an image, either from images you've uploaded before or by URL you can specify, or product images you can load, and then you can go, and of course you can upload your own. So if I click here, I'll go to my computer and upload, and in this case, let's say I wanted to use this, I'm going to put the SEO alt text, which basically describes the image. So woman, let's say standing, okay, standing, okay, and I'm going to click on insert. I can also double click on the image and I can add some more data. I can align them, I can text wrap around the image. Obviously my SEO title tag can make the image very small or much bigger, and I can add some spacing to the edges of the content, and I can click on OK. Okay, what else can I do? I can embed a video, put a video in, go from there. So let's go ahead and put a video. So I'm going to go here to YouTube, right here, and I'm just going to take this video, okay, and I'm going to go here to video, and I put it in and insert my video. Okay, sorry, my mistake. What did I do? I'm going to click here and share, my mistake, and I'm going to go to embed, and I'm going to copy this iframe. I went a little too fast, and I'm going to go back here, click here, embed, copy the iframe, and oh, I got a video here. Okay, great. Next thing, what else can we do? You can always, second, what else can we do? I'm going to save this for a second. I'm going to go to the front end and see how the product page looks. Okay, obviously I made a little messy one, but now you can see all of my content, my video, etc. You can do a lot of things right here. The last thing you can do with the WYSIWYG is, if you're a developer, you know HTML, you can always, instead of using the WYSIWYG, you can click here and you can make your own HTML or do small corrections. Okay, if you know how to develop, HTML is cleaner, nicer. If you don't, you can play around with this. It's really nice. Okay, what else can we do here? We can upload images. This is always going to be the main image, right? If you want this to be the main image, you can go and drag it and switch. But I'm going to switch back because it looks better. I can always double click on things. If I already uploaded, I can see the image, the sizing. I can add my SEO title tag, which you want to do. For example, let's call this badge. Okay, I can delete it and I can download the image, and I can also do some basic photo editing. If I want to crop it, for example, I can go here and I want to, let's say, crop this, and I want to do that, and I can click here on done. Okay, now I don't want to do that. I can also draw a little bit, do some funny things here, etc. I can reset it, I can go back, and I can, whoops, resize a little bit so I can keep the ratio, for example, you know, the width and the height, or I can actually just change it completely. So it's kind of like cropping, right? So I can do things like that. Let's click done and save. I kind of messed up the image, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, now if I want to add more images, I can do that. I can just browse from my computer. For example, let's go right here. Let's go to, let's upload this, for example. Here's a media. I can obviously double click on it. I can edit it. I can delete it. Okay, I can go here and click. Let's go here. And I didn't want to delete it, actually. Okay, what else can you do? You can also add the media from your URL, right? So if I have a link to an image, for example, and I want this image. Let's say I want to take this one. I'll copy the image URL, the HTTP, all the way from the beginning. I'll put it right here. Excuse me. And last thing you can do is you can actually add a YouTube video under the product. So you can take the whole video, which is just this, not the embed part, and take the URL of the video page. You can put it in, and it'll be embedded, but your theme must support it. So if your theme doesn't support that, you would not have, like this theme doesn't support it, you would not have the video right here, okay? Let's see, let's save this. Okay, so let's go ahead, and it's saved automatically. Okay, next part, the price, right? Very important. You're selling products. Let's figure out the price. So the price you want to sell is going to be here, $3.33 in this case. Here you can put the retail price. For example, original price was $5.99. Okay, so if I put here and I go to the product page, you'll be able to see it was $5.99. The retail price is, it's scratched out, but it's actually $3.33. So you gave a sale price. Now, if you actually want to store inside your product cost, and this is only visible to you, it's not visible to the end consumer, it's not visible on the product page, you can actually put in, for example, only cost me 99 cents, and you can see it, it's really nice. Shopify gives you the margin and the profit of the cost for your cost and how much you're selling it right here. Now, obviously, it doesn't include real data, it just includes this calculation right here. It doesn't include your credit card processing fee, your customer service, your packaging, etc. But it gives you a good idea to understand what your starting point is. Okay. Other than that, you need to see if you want to charge for tax. Most products you will have to, but depends where you live and who you're selling to. You might not need this. And if you have multiple currencies, which we've made another video for, you can see that you can actually manage the currencies, right? So for example, you're offering it in multiple currencies, US dollar, Canadian dollar, etc. You can enable, disable that, and you can change pricing. Okay. Next one, inventory. You should always want to have a SKU, identifier of your product itself. Okay, so for example, my product might be ABC123. That's my unique SKU that's unique just for that product in the warehouse. Okay, if it has a universal number like a barcode or an ISBN for books or UPC or GTIN or other unique identifier codes, you're going to put that in. It's especially helpful if you, when you process your warehouse, if you scan codes and you automate your shipping, or if you're syncing to Amazon or eBay or others that they need this unique identifier, it's really important to have this, okay? If you don't have it, you can either search for it if it's a common product, or you can register your own. That's a complete different video though, okay? Other than that, you can specify if you don't want to track any quantity. So if someone buys, you can always sell it. And you can specify if the product has zero stock. For example, here there's 80,000 stock. Would you want to continue selling if the stock is zero? Okay, this is up to you and your business decision. Now, in the other video I've made, I've actually had multiple warehouses, multiple locations. So if you're selling in multiple locations, you'd have the list here. For example, I want to sell in both locations. Okay, there's another video. I'm going to link to our playlist, and then you can actually see every single thing that we've done with multi-inventory and all these other things I've mentioned in the video. Okay, so other than that, I can also edit my locations right here. Excuse me, not edit locations, view inventory history. Let's save this for a second. I want to show you that. Let's go down here, view inventory history. Okay, and you can actually see the history of my product. Okay, so you can see how many came in, came out, etc. Let's go back. Okay, perfect. Okay, so next one, what do we have here? You can mark if it's a physical product that's shipping, you mark this. So that means that when the customer checks out, they have to put a billing and shipping address. If it's not a physical product, for example, it's a subscription or like a virtual ticket or something like that, you don't have to mark this. If the customer is checking out, they don't need to fill up the shipping address. Okay, great. Obviously, it's physical. It has a shipping weight. This will help to calculate your shipping sticker and your shipping charges with whatever company you're shipping with. Okay, you can select pound, ounce, kilos, and grams. Okay, if you're shipping abroad, if you're actually selling abroad to customers, you have to specify your HS code, which you can look up the code, and this is the international code for customs, and you can specify where you're shipping from. In addition, the last part, or the last important part of this section, is your actual variance. If the product, if you remember, this is a simple product, okay? Excuse me. So there's no variance, so I don't need a variance. I can continue, edit my SEO thing, my SEO part, my title tag, my meta description, and my actual URL. If I do that, I can proceed on, okay? Now, if I already have a product and I change the URL, for example, here, you can see that the Shopify recommends for you to create a redirect. So no one goes to the old page, which won't exist anymore. So this is always recommended unless you have a very specific reason not to, okay? And the next part is, where are you selling? If you have multiple channels like me, online store, buy button, maybe you sell on also Amazon, etc., you're going to want to associate the product to the specific channels, okay? If you don't, you can uncheck them. Now, if you have, for online store, you can always set a publication date if you want to sell in the future, for example, okay? Great. And these are the basic stuff we've talked about, right? So product type, this is organizes the type of product. So maybe you have shoes, shirts, accessories. They all have different or commonalities between them and difference between the different types. So if you have it already, you've configured, you can do that. If you have a new one, you can say, for example, you know, this is discontinued, or this is sale, or this is whatever it is, right? And then the vendor usually is brands, but you can organize it in different ways. So usually in this case, for example, I use brands for vendor, right? And then this logically organizes things. So based on these, you can create automated collections, for example, which we've covered in the video, which I'll put in the playlist. And then other apps can use those to do cool automated things, right? Marketing, for example. Okay, which collections does it go into? So I've already created auto collections that are based on the product type and the vendor. So you see automatically they're associated. But I can also add my own. For example, I can make one, and I can make, let's say, I want to associate to sale. Okay, great. If I need to make my own, I can go ahead, go to collections right here. Okay, so I select it, great. And I can delete this. I can remove it if I don't want. And then last one are tags. This is another way to organize the products into a common section. The difference between the product types is types are more like big groups, and tags are small identifications that one product can belong to multiple tags, whereas a product can only belong to one product type. There's different ways to organize your site. If you have any questions about what's the best way to organize things, comment in the YouTube video, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Okay? Once you finish, you can save, and that's it. And then that's really covering everything. So I have two more things I can think of right now. So number one is the import export. So I have another video, which is going to be in the playlist, which talks about how do you import and export correctly with a CSV or a spreadsheet. That's really simple. You'll be able to find it. The last thing is talking about the variants, right? We talked about a simple product, like a sticker, but we also talk about the variants themselves. Okay, so let's talk about a variant. For example, a shoe. So I'm going to go here, right here. I'm going to search for that, and then I'm going to click on my product, okay? So everything is the same exact in the product configuration other than the variants. So here I have a variant, and I have all of these variants. So before we get into the specific, what a variant means, it means it's a specific product that a customer can buy. So even though we're only selling one type of shoe, which is this shoe, the shoe actually in the warehouse has a ton of options. So it has these sizes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it also has one color. So it actually would have 7 different physical items that are stored in the warehouse. If I had 2 colors, it would be 7 times 2. So it would be 14 specific different products that I'm selling. And each of those may have its own inventory, right? So I might have 14, but I might have 5 white, 1,000 pieces, and then 6 white, only 5 pieces, etc. And then obviously you have multiple warehouses, obviously. So how does it look? So you go here, and right here I have, remember, 1 color times 7 sizes. You can see everything right here. Total, I have 700, and these are all my information. Now, each one of these, I can actually upload an image. So typically, on other sites, when you change the color, for example, it'll also change the main image. And so what you can do for every single specific one, if I had 7 or 14, I'd go click here and actually upload the image. For example, I click here, I'd upload the image, or I'd select it, and then you would actually have something here. So for example, imagine these are different colors. You have different colors that switch. Now, let's go ahead and save this for a second. So I'm going to go here back to variants. And if I have multiple warehouses, multiple locations, I'll have the difference here. Sometimes you have different inventory in different locations. So what can you do here? You can obviously open the bulk editor, for example. You select all, and you can easily manage these, right? So you can change, for example, maybe the price. For example, I want this one to be 180 and this one to be 190, okay? And I can save that, right? I can also add more fields. Let's say I want to manage all of the weight, okay? So now you have here all of these. So you can add all of these fields and you can reduce it so you can bulk edit. Just click, 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 type, save, okay? What else can you do? You can go ahead and you can edit a specific one, and you can actually specify everything from here. This is the price, the compare, the taxes, the SKU, right? Every individual one of the 7 products we showed should have its own SKU because they're different physical products. Where are you selling? You have the inventory, right? Etc. So everything is here, okay? You can duplicate, and what else can you do? You can go ahead. So another thing about variants, which I want to show you on a complete new product, is every product can have up to 3 different types of variants. So color is one variant, size is another variant, and for example, material would be another one. So if I have like a 5 small and a 5 large and a 5 medium, I might have a 5 large, 5 small, 5 medium, but leather and then cotton and things like that. So you start multiplying it. So for example, if I had 7 sizes but had 2 colors, that's 14. But if I have again 2 more colors, 2 more materials. So for example, 7 sizes, 2 colors, black and white, and then I have the material, let's say leather and cotton. So that would be 7 times 2 times 2, right? So 7 times 2 is 14, times 2 is 28. So I literally have 28 different variants. So what I can do here is I can go to variants, okay? And I can go here and I can click on, I have variants, and I can specify, so for example, size, and I would specify with commas, S, for example, comma, L, comma, XL, comma, and I would add another one, let's say color, and I would specify white, comma, color, sorry, what am I doing? Okay, and I can specify material, okay, that's a good one, okay, and I would say, for example, cotton, and what was it, leather, okay, let's type it in correctly, okay, great, and then so now everything here, you see everything is available here, and let me go ahead, okay, this is a test product, I'm gonna put a basic pricing, so $10 was 20 originally, and it cost me only 5, and my SKU is test 1, okay, and the warehouse itself, let me go here, let's save this for a second, I want to show you a little bit, okay, so now I can go ahead and I want to bulk edit that, and I want to change a few things here, so let's go here, okay, and I want to open the bulk editor, okay, so here I have medium, small, large, XL, white and black, right? And I have cotton and leather. So you see here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so why do I have 16? So I have one size, 2, 3, 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Okay, and here I'd start putting all the unique SKUs. I have to have a unique SKU for every single different item, put the price, save everything, and then I would be good to go. Obviously, I can change the images just like we did before and specify the actual inventory. Okay, so let's go right here. Okay, available, and I would want to add the inventory of this specific one right here. For example, this medium white leather. I would go here to available, and I can add the quantity. For example, I want to set the quantity to 9, and I would click on save, and I can put it in. Okay, so that's really everything. I hope I didn't go too fast. I know sometimes I go fast. If you have any questions, let me know. Hope this makes sense. This is really trying to go over every single detail here on regular products, products without variants, product with variants. Hope this makes sense, and we'll be making more and more videos. Thank you for your time, everybody. I really appreciate it. Thanks.